Hello and welcome to Nanaimo. I'm David Pratt along with our expert commentator, Dan Crockett.
Hi, Dave. This is our second Can-Am Championships held in Nanaimo. We've got 80 arm wrestlers, most of them provincial, Canadian, or world champions, and we're going to have an exciting tournament.
How seriously do these arm wrestlers take this?
Real serious when you get at this caliber. I'm an arm wrestler myself, and if I make it to a tournament, especially where there's money, then I'm going to be serious.
Sounds like a lot of excitement ahead of us. We'll be back with the start of the 1987 Can-Am World Senior Championships right after this. Now let's move on to the heavyweights, the lefties. Mike Kadar, Les Spooner. Met in the semifinal.
Yeah. Okay, we've got Mike. We got Mike Kadar up there on the right in the white t-shirt, and we've got Ian Leslie on the left. The way we've got our table set up today, we see Canada on the white side always, and the United States on the blue side. We've had a lot of slip-out matches today, and we just had another one.
This is our first opportunity to take a look at Ian Leslie. And once again, we see the strap being brought out. And perhaps you can explain a little bit, you know, when we start talking about the strap that's needed in a championship of this caliber, why we see so many slip-outs and why there is the need for the strap.
Okay, well, actually, only recently, maybe in the last couple of years, you see so many slip-outs because there's more guys going to what we call the top roll position, or the over-the-top move. Guys that pull inside don't have the tendency to slip out. So it's just the style has changed over the years. Ian Leslie didn't waste any time with the straps on.
So that gives Ian Leslie.
There's some points for Canada, and we're sure happy about that.
Sure the Canadians will take it. And that gives him the heavyweight for the left-handed division to Ian Leslie. Super heavyweight.
Okay, we're going with Mike Kadar, and we're going with Mark Shannon. Mark Shannon's up there at the table. He's waiting for Mike right now. Mark is a champion. He's won a world title. He's got Canadian title, a lot of Alberta titles, and he's going to have a tough match here, but he's a real gritty performer. He doesn't give up.
Again, these are two of the kind of guys you expect to see in a final of a super heavyweight championship.
That's right. We picked Mark Shannon to be in the finals here. He arm wrestles funny. He gets into what we call a break wrist position, but he uses his tricep. He pulls his shoulder in, and even though he's in a break wrist position, he's able to put a lot of pressure on his opponent's arm.
You know, the other thing, too, that is fascinating about the sport, the way it is growing in leaps and bounds, is the way that the crowd gets into it. You can, they've got music going, the crowd is yelling and screaming all the time. This is really a fan sport as much as it's a competitive sport.
Yeah, it's a real good fan sport because most of the people here, a lot of them are friends, they know who they are, or they're a Canadian or American, so they can root for their team as well as the individuals. Mike Kadar has the hand position here, holding on with everything he's got, but we don't count Mark out. We're going to have a slip out here, I think. It
looks that way, yes.
That's the referee's discretion. Nobody tried to slip. It's just the way they got their hand position.
While they're doing this and putting the strap on, let's talk a little bit about the conditioning that these athletes go through to prepare for a championship of this magnitude.
Okay, and most of these guys that you see that we're watching here in the finals, they all train. They weight train, or they jog, they work out in some way or another, or they have a job that's very strenuous. The best training there is for arm wrestling is arm wrestling. So a lot of these guys are arm wrestling at least once, twice, 3 times a week with guys of their own caliber or better in order to get good at the sport.
All right, again, this for the Super Heavyweight Championship. Mark Shannon and Mike Kadar.
Okay, we're just waiting for the straps to be put on here.
And these are big guys, both over 200 pounds.
Now, this is going to be to Mark Shannon's advantage. Mark on the right of the screen and in the longer hair. Because of the way he arm wrestles in the break wrist position, this is going to be an advantage to him because he can let his wrist flop over, but he won't slip out.
But in straight strength, one-on-one, who has the advantage?
I'd say there's no advantage here. This is going to take technique or endurance. I think this is going to be an endurance match. The fella that can just hang in there the longest and wants to win.
The way this thing has been set up, it could be one of the best matches that we'll see all day.
This will be a long one. This will be a good one.
It's exactly what you said it was going to be.
Now, Mike is opening up. His arm's coming apart. He's losing strength when that happens.
And that's it.
Mark hangs in there with endurance to win that match.
So Mark Shannon wins the Super Heavyweight Championship.
He's one of the best heavyweight players I've seen in Canada in a long time. In fact, he's taken out the former world champion to get the national title. His speed, his power, his thinking ability on the table is, he's got it all together. I feel he'd probably walk away with it.
Hit it. I'll hit it.
This sport has come a long way from the days when it would be a battle of raw strength. Now, technique and speed are just as important. Kadar has concentrated on those aspects for the past 4 years. He knows what it takes to win.
Yes, I've worked definitely on my technique and my speed, power, and plus my mind. I've kept it in my mind, and I feel a person out, and I take them off as fast as I can, take them out. I try and spike them out. Of course, I try and spike them out by being calm. And when they figure you're calm, they really feel they're in, they have to be in the defensive right away. I like to be calm and positive thinking when I'm up there.
There are those who believe arm wrestling is nothing more than a barroom exhibition. But don't tell that to the members of the Prince George Club, who have gained a reputation for producing some of the best arm wrestlers in the country. And it doesn't take long to gain an appreciation for those who go elbow to elbow, fist to fist, in one of the oldest sports known to man.
We go for it just in the competitive area of it. I think that's what's keeping the sport alive. And it doesn't have to be a big cash prize up there or a lot of interviews and whatnot to keep it alive. Just the heart of the arm wrestling competitors itself is pulling it.
We're going to see a guy back here in the new year with a world title?
Oh, well, I'm definitely going to try my hardest.
Pretty good, eh?
Come on, Mike. Looking good. Looking good. Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike. You can do it. Over the top, Mike. Mike, over the top. I can't say anything's good to him or not. I've got my back straight. Here, Boozy, give a smile, will you? Boozy, give me a kiss, right? Hey, you give a kiss, I'll blackmail. Okay, there it is. Smile!
The message, the weight just went up to 100 kilos. Thank you, gentlemen.
So, Nick.
Before you start on the job, you want to have straight. Don't move until I say no. Hang on, yes. What, I got to warm up? Oh, yes. You never worry, he's the world champion. We want to ruin your reputation, Mike. Okay. Ready? Go! Give him a pull. He's ready anytime. He's toying with me. I'll go to church tomorrow, everyone. Very good. Ready? Don't give any. Go! Anytime. He's a log builder, so you gotta watch him. Tough log builder.
When Mike Kadar was a student at Spectrum High School in Victoria, he was like a lot of his buddies. He'd fill some of the time between classes by arm wrestling. But unlike the rest of those students, Kadar has since become the best heavyweight arm wrestler in the world. He won his title in Sweden earlier this month, and he was home in time for Christmas with a gold medal to put under the tree.
You see, your wrist is way too bent. You have to be a lot more square.
When they were boys, Joe Kadar used to beat his kid brother Mike when they arm wrestled in the family rec room. Now it's world champion Mike who gives tips to his older brother. The 27-year-old sawmill worker recently won the world professional heavyweight arm wrestling title in Sweden. That capped a 5-year pro career that saw him capture the Canadian and North American championships in a sport Kadar had dreamed about since his school days.
We just used to arm wrestle, turn our desks around and have an arm wrestle, and I've always liked the sport from TV, and I always said to myself, I want to do that, I want to do that.
Kadar was one of 10 athletes competing for Canada. The team took 2 gold, 3 silver, and 2 bronze medals at the World Championship. The videotape Kadar brought home from the event shows the lightning-fast speed with which Kadar beat 33 competitors during the 2-day event. It's a very structured sport, with referees watching intently for any infractions regarding body placement. While the refs watch the competitors watch each other in a sport that's as much psychological as physical.
I just walk around and don't talk to nobody, have nothing to do with nobody. I'm in my own state of mind all the time. And that's what really bothers the other arm wrestlers, is that I don't show anything. I just keep quiet, and I know what I have to do when I get up there, and I don't care who I go against. I just know what I have to do.
But 200 to 300 chin-ups a day and hard work in an interior sawmill don't hurt, especially when it comes to battling your big brother.
1, 2, 3, go. Thanks.
Kadar has worked hard at perfecting his technique. He breaks it down into several elements and during a competition executes it in a split second.
Like if they get into the break wrist position, like you broken wrist like that, and I can't pull them, well, what I'll do, I'll start pushing straight down on them. So his elbow just starts sliding right out from underneath him. And that works the best.
Kadar plans to continue pro arm wrestling and defend his title next year.
He'll be in Athens, Greece next year. I'll be there.
Toward the end. They're in alphabetical order.
Come on, Marv, big boat. Like you can, Marv. Like you can, buddy. Everything. Your left is your Marv. Marv, coming back. Go. Let's get the spirit up. Say it now. We'll just get straight first. Okay, hold it. All right, Bill. Come on. Big Mike. Don't move it. Take this out. You can, Marv. Come on. Hard and fast. Go. Come on, Marv. Come on, Marv.
You're going the wrong way. Or no,
Brenda McKess, winner on table 2. Shirley Isaac and Nancy Frank Howard on table
2. Go! Come on, Mike! Come on, Mike! Come on, Mike! Come on, Mike!
Go! Marvin Rollins, 10 spot, table 2. On deck, Gerald Evans, Jerry Zapala, table 3 combined.
Come on, guys. Just like that. Don't move. I'm gonna watch. Don't move. Don't move. Go, guys. Elbow. Foul. Watch your elbow, Mikey. Come on, advantage of this guy. Come on, guys. It's just a touch. Watch that elbow, Mike. Watch straight on that plant. Go. Let's go. Go, girl. Keep around. Come on, Mike. Come on. That's it. Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike.
Please keep your class because we're trying to get it down to the 4 categories for all the
Square ourselves. Take it
Stay with him. At table 1, we have Mike Kadar.
Keep it clean, guys. Mike, go! No mercy, Dwight. Give nothing. Don't let him. Speedster, Dwight. Right through, Dwight. Speedster, right Dwight. Come on, Dwight.
Table 1, we have
Come on, Dwight.
Come
on, Dwight. Let's go.
Keep it top.
Hey, Dwight. Come on, Dwight. Come on now. Come on, Dwight. Come on, Dwight. Now, Dwight. Hit him hard, Dwight. Hit him hard, Dwight. Hit him. Down, Dwight. Yes. Good. Keep her close in, Dwight. Come on, Dwight. Stop yours, Dwight. Show him how. Come on, Dwight. Power. Stay on her. Stay on her, Dwight. Come on, Dwight. Stay on her. Come on, Dwight. He's yours, Dwight. All over him. Come on, Dwight. Through it. Come on, Dwight. Come on, Dwight. Do it, Dwight. Come on, Dwight. Let's do it, Dwight. Come on, Dwight. Take him down. Come on, Dwight. Hang on, Dwight. Come on, Dwight. Hang on, Dwight. Let's go. Come on, Dwight. Come on, Dwight. Go through him, buddy. Go through him. Go to him, Dwight. Go, Dwight. Go. Go, Dwight. Go, Dwight. Go, Dwight. Go, Dwight. Go, Dwight. Come on. Go, Dwight. Go, Dwight. One job at a time. You know what you have to do, boys? Come on, Dwight, now. Like that.
What, Dwight?
Feel comfortable?
Come on, Dwight.
Feet back. Come on, Dwight. Go! Oh! Yeah! Yeah! Yeah, boy!
It's going to be a good one.
I remember that. many trophies we got.
Good one. Good pull.
What a turn.
He went the right.
Come on, Mike!
Beauty.
I'm watching both hands. I can tell he's going to look on. Both elbows are perfect.
Come on, Mike!
Keep it down.
Right on the edge.
Watch your elbows. Keep them down.
Come on, Mikey!
Come on, Brad. Come on, Brad. Pull. Stay there.
Head up.
Keep it down.
Come on, Bradley. Any more, you're going to be off. Head up. Come on, Brad.
Mike, you got him!
Brad. Come on, Mike.
Come on, Mike!
Power down, Mikey. Come on, Brad.
Yes! Yes! You got him!
Kadar spends 3 hours a day with a garage door spring. In his room are trophies, awards, and plaques, all a testament to his work ethic and attitude, two attributes that have taken him to carry the title world champion.
It was pretty exciting. It's a dream come true for me. I dreamt it all about ever since I started getting into the sport. I always thought of, well, fulfillment, satisfaction.
That need for satisfaction is part of what drives Kadar. One of his next goals is a tournament in the Soviet Union, a trip with a big price tag for an amateur.
Well, hopefully I'll still be strong enough and healthy enough to be there, because it's in my mind to go. When it's in my mind, I'm going.
Mike would be the only Canadian making the trip, along with 400 American arm wrestlers, but with his outlook, the odds are just as good that Canada can bring home a medal.
Well, an arm wrestler is an arm wrestler, and if there's a will, there's a way.
For the third and final competition of USA versus USSR, first historic arm wrestling competition, I might add. Today's events will feature some of the finest athletes in the world from both the United States and Canada.
Thank you. Canada. Yeah. Canada. Yeah. Wrap the laugh in it for the folks back home. The folks back home, once to the road. That's right. Yeah. Especially not good. Yeah. Do one more time. One more time. Contain. David.
А теперь приступаем к международным соревнованиям по борьбе на руках. Вызывание Союза Штатов Америки.
Fotos en serio. Рычаг меньше, Серега! На себя!
Победа присуждается Майклу Кадару. А теперь начинаем второй круг. Вызывается Победкин Юрий Секронхауэр.
Серега, давай!
Who's the winner? Canada is the winner, not the United States. Canada is the winner.
Brian, you're not pulling. I'm going to referee this point. Yes. Okay. For the Canadians. The Canadian arm wrestling. I understand. Yeah.
Go, Mikey, kid. One time.
Can I do them?
I want to hear the pound of puff.
Yes.
No contact. You make the smoke ring with his hand?
Back up. Back up. Back up.
Good.
Back up.
Back up.
Good.
Smoke ring. Ready. Go!
Brilliant match there. We're ready for the next session.
Сказали друг другу, да?
Bring it quick now. Bring it quick.
Подразил, тебя ловит на моменте, Олег.
Go, Mike.
У тебя рука сильнее, чем у него.
Go, Mike.
Олег, подразил.
No bullshit. Let's go.
You're defeating. Come on, Mike. 12,000 miles.
Go.
United States.
Он вообще венгерского происхождения, он сам венгер. И фамилия у него Кадар.
Kadar doesn't know how to slide. Good. Left game. This guy's learning. Windburn. Nah. Sure he is. You watch. See it, Mike. Through all the shit. Good. One done, Mike. Done. Go.
Down.
Вот так и сиди.
Good. Pop him now, Mike. Straight. Good. Pop him now, Mike.
No, good.
Oh. Straight. Good. There. No move. No. Right there. Okay.
Ready? Asha, go!
I wasn't really satisfied on saying that I was a world champion unless I went to Russia and competed with the Russians. Well, I'm here to compete with the Russians, and
Kicking their ass this time.
Закончено. Сейчас будет продолжена культурная программа.
The sport of arm wrestling are dynamic and mentally tough, which brings me here to Moscow to cover this sport as the Soviets, the Canadians, and Americans compete in an international tournament. Arm wrestling is growing in worldwide popularity. It is the goal of the participants of this sport to bring it to an Olympic level. And with the recent interest the Soviets have displayed in arm wrestling, this sport is taking a large step towards attaining Olympic status. We'll explain how arm wrestling is contested and meet with several world champions to discuss their specialized training techniques and the rules of this sport. So stay with me as the weight room will continue shortly from Moscow, Red Square, with international arm wrestling and a lot more. Arm wrestling is a sport that has been growing in popularity worldwide. It has evolved over the years from the barroom to what is now a highly organized international sport. It is the goal of the competitors and organizations such as the American Arm Wrestling Federation to gain Olympic status for the sport of arm wrestling. This trip was significant because the influence of the Soviet Union and other Eastern Bloc countries could help the sport gain Olympic status in the very near future. And by all indications, the trip was highly successful. The Russian athletes, coaches, and crowds embraced the sport with excitement and a fierce competitive spirit.
Ready? Go!
Strength, speed, and technique are the three main elements in arm wrestling. Lately, Taglione from the United States and Canada's own Mike Kadar.
When you grip up with a thumb grip, showing the first knuckle on each hand. You can't grip up higher than the knuckle. You have to grip up and show the knuckle on each hand. Wrists have to be straight on the go, and the hands have to be centered in the center of the table. The referee will give two commands. He'll say, ready, and then go. And on the go, both contestants will both start to pull. If you move before the ready, they'll give a warning, and then if you get 2 warnings for moving before the go, you'll get a foul. 2 fouls, you're disqualified from the tournament or you lose the tournament. On a pin, your opponent will take you to the pin pad and touch the back of your hand or wrist to the pin pad. If both contestants get stretched out and you can't reach the pad, but your hand goes below the plane of the pad, it's still a pin. 2 basic techniques used in arm wrestling. The first one, which most people use, especially if they're inexperienced or just happen to be real strong, is called a hook. And on the go, the contestants will try to reach in and hook their wrist into the other person's wrist and pull with power from their whole body back and forth like this. The other technique is called a top roll, and that is when one opponent will try to get his hand on top of the hand of his opponent and pull on the end of his fingers. That's why it's called a top roll. You get your hand on top and roll out on the fingers. The basic difference between the 2 techniques is in the hook, it's more of a power pull. The one with the most power will usually win that because you take the hand away. If someone hooks and comes in, the only way you can stop them if you're not as strong is to try to top roll out of it and then bring his hand back. On a top roll, if a guy top rolls like this and tries to come down, usually it's the weaker of the two guys that will top roll because it requires more technique and tendon strength and less power and muscle strength. So if I top roll like this, the easiest way for Mike to come out is either come on top of my hand and pull out, or he can hook in from there and pull me back with his power. Either way.
The Russian team was incredibly strong. Most of their athletes have been recruited from their Olympic weightlifting or powerlifting teams, since no official arm wrestling organization had previously been established in the Soviet Union. But they soon learned that power was only one element of this sport, and the superior technique and experience of the United States and Canadian athletes clearly dominated the competitions. After the first competition, the Americans and Canadians wanted to show the Russians some of the finer points of this sport. They met the next day at the Institute of Physical Culture to demonstrate and teach techniques to the Russians, who were very attentive and anxious to learn. On hand was Viktor Shenkin, the Soviet Olympic weightlifting coach and head of strongman sports in the USSR. Also, the Soviet legend Sultan Rachmanov, world record holder in Olympic weightlifting in the 1970s and team captain for the Russians' newly founded arm wrestling organization. The camaraderie and friendship that developed between the Soviets and our American and Canadian athletes was tremendous. Any and all cultural or political barriers came down. The athletes and coaches truly enjoyed the exchange. Power, speed, and technique are the three elements necessary in arm wrestling. Mike Kadar, Canada's world champion in the heavyweight division, is a master in this sport. We spoke with Mike about his intensive training. Mike, you're not giving us enough time to study your technique. What makes you so darn powerful?
No, just experience in the sport, I guess. Just speed and power is what I work on, and that's what I've learned how to arm wrestle is through speed and power.
What got you started?
I was living in northern BC in a camp, and wasn't able to play my actual sports of soccer and baseball and lacrosse, and I met some guys who were into professional arm wrestling, and so they got me going in arm wrestling, and I just keep going from there on.
Aside from the arm wrestling itself, what other kind of exercises or drills do you use to make you a great champion?
I like to try and do as many push-ups a week as possible. I'm trying to get 3,000 push-ups a week to 2,000 chin-ups a week, and just to keep the tendon strength up.
When you're locking up with an opponent, can you tell what his strengths or weaknesses are as you guys are just hooking up?
Well, you try and set him up to where he's going to be following your shot. I don't wait for them. I've felt that through experience, and you can tell if the guy is going to try and jump inside on you or take on a top roll. That's just experience, I guess.
Tell us about how you feel about the Russians.
I feel great about the Russians. They are far behind the Canadians and the Americans, but you give them time, they'll be just like anybody else. The practice makes perfect.